Good evening, friends, and welcome to the climax of yet another spooky holiday season. When this time of year rolls around, I like nothing better than to share a spooky story. So I have gathered some of the most frightening tales the internet has to offer, and I shall share them with you now. Make sure you are sitting comfortably. Strap on your diapers and prepare to be spooked by the scariest tales known to man. These are the CrappyPasta Chronicles. Apologies if my cauldron is a little loud. I'm brewing some tea. Our first story tonight is called Scaruy GArry. As I sat down on the leather chair in the cold office, the woman said, "So tell me, Mr. Baker, what's been on your mind?" While staring up at the fluorescent light, I stated, "It all started back in 1992. I was 12. It was early June, around the beginning of summer. I had a small group of friends, Jake, Terry, and Ray. We lived in a small city in the Midwestern region in the US. It's small enough that you could probably go your entire life never hearing its name. With its small size, there were no good meeting spots like a mall, or anything that wasn't a restaurant or park. We usually just hung out at the local bowling alley. On one hot day, we were just sitting at a table talking about our lives, until Terry said, "Midwestern, you hear about that recent murder case? The one in next city over?" asked Ray. "Yeah, the Porter family." "You mean Porter as in James Porter?" I asked. "That was the dad, I think. That guy was my dad's old work buddy. Damn." After that, everyone went quiet. After about 12 seconds of silence, I stood up and walked to the bathroom. As I walked into the stall, I saw the initials SG written on the walls. I thought nothing of it. After that, I sat back down at the table, and as soon as I did, a man, roughly around 50 to 60, walked up to us. "Can we help you?" "Yeah, be warned." And with that, he walked off. A week later, I was walking about when I saw a girl from my school crying on a park bench. She had long dyed red hair and a Metallica t-shirt. I, being the alpha Rizzler I am, walked up to her and said, "Are you okay?" "Are you okay?" "He's gone!" she screamed. "David's gone!" I walked away without saying anything. Later that night, I heard a knock at the window next to my bed. I looked out it and saw Ray. "Dude, it's like 2 a.m., man. This better be fucking important." "Somebody took Terry." "What?" I've given up on the accent. Forget the accent. It's not necessary. We were walking around the park when some guy just grabbed him. I tried to chase him, but I lost him. "Did you call the police?" "Yes, I called the police." After that, he left. 4 years later, I was hanging out with my hot GF at the mall. And then a man came up and said, I'm Scaruy GArry," and fucking stabbed my hot GF. "You!" I said. "You are bastard!" I pulled out my AK-47 and shot him dead. I got on the ground and held Lucy as her blood fell down onto my hand. I pulled her into a hug and said, "I love you." Quite the dramatic moment for my mustache to fall off. I pulled her into a hug and said, "I love you." And she said, "I was cheating on you with Ray." I pulled out my semi-automatic and fucking shot her dead. And then I began becoming the Scaruy GArry because of the Scaruy GArry evil scary curse from my evil watch. Whew. Our next story is entitled, Today of All te BLOD. This is the story of a day where there was all this blood. A man was walking around and blood started coming out of him everywhere. There was so much blood that it filled up an elevator. He went to the store and there was just blood all over the place. People were slipping in it and they were all grossed out. He tried to go swimming and all of the sharks went nuts and bitten everybody. He got chased by all the vampires ever. One time, the blood got a kid and a dog. At the end of the day, everyone decided they would send him to space so that he would stop getting blood everywhere. The scariest part is that this man was you! Or he was a lady if you were a lady. And you forgot this happened. Our next story tonight is titled Repurcussions of Evil. John Stalvern waited. The lights above him blinked and sparked out of the air. There were demons in the base. He didn't see them, but had expected them now for years. His warnings to Cernel Joson were not listened to, and now it was too late. Far too late for now, anyway. John was a space marine for 14 years. When he was young, he watched the spaceships and he said to Dad, "I want to be on the ships, Daddy." Dad said, "No, you will be killed by demons." There was a time when he believed him. Then as he got older, he stopped. But now in the space station base of the UAC, he knew there were demons. "This is Joson," the radio crackered. "You must fight the demons." So John gotted his plasma rifle and blew up the wall. "He's going to kill us," said the demons. "I will shoot at him," said the cyber demon, and he fired the rocket missiles. John plasmaed at him and tried to blow him up, but then the ceiling fell and they were trapped and not able to kill. "No, I must kill the demons," he shouted. The radio said, "No, John, you are the demons." And then John was a zombie. Our next story is another sci-fi adventure entitled Monkey Cloning. You may have heard the old theory about an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters could type the complete works of Shakespeare. Well, here's the part you probably haven't heard. Someone actually tried to do this. Danish scientist Lars Hansen took this theory very seriously. As luck would have it, his job was monkey cloner at the University of Copenhagen. He had spent the last few days just cloning monkeys non-stop, knowing that monkey infinity would soon be arriving. "This one! It's this one!" he yelled excitedly to his assistant Noah. "Oh my God," said Noah, his beautiful eyes widening. 3 it was, in front of them, monkey number infinity. Then the monkeys became self-aware and realized there were more of them than humans. They decided they would each kill one human, traveling around the globe, led by Monkey Infinity. Monkey Infinity gestured towards Monkey 289994 and 9011. "Kill," Monkey Infinity said. And then Lars, Human 289994, and Noah, Human 9011, were both dead. Monkey Infinity laughed with satisfaction, knowing that he would never have to kill anyone himself, as there was no human infinity. So just remember, there's a monkey out there with your number on it. Ooh, chills. This next story is titled Bored to Death. Will you calm down? One legend in a sleepy little town somewhere in the US was this. If you go to the abandoned store in this town with a Othello board with its pieces, someone, or something, would play you a game of Othello, and if you won, you would win a knowledge of every bet you would take on in life. If you lost, however, well, let's save that for later. Well, one day, a boy and his brother went to the abandoned store with a, well, you guessed it, a Othello board. The boy to play the game asked the brother to stay outside, so the brother with the board and pieces went inside. Then 13 minutes later, the brother outside heard a "Yeah!" The brother rushed inside as soon as he could. When he saw the inside of the room the game was played in, he went, "Yeah!" The next 2 days later, the cops found 2 bodies of 2 children, male, aged 10 and 7. When they were sent to the morgue that same day, all found was horrifying. Their bodies were filled with 32 Othello discs. Each in one body was white discs, the other was filled with black discs. Then one of the examiners of the bodies noticed a chilling phrase made between 1 black and 1 white discs, and it said, "Game start." I don't know about you, but I certainly won't be playing Othello for some time. Not least because I don't know how to play. Our next story tonight is titled, A Game of Chess. It's just a game, right? When I was a little boy, about the age of 5, my grandparents told me a story that I loved. It was called A Game of Chess. I wanted to tell it all the time, and I thought you would be interested. Apparently, my grandparents had made it up because when I looked it up, there were no results. That's why I decided to tell you about A Game of Chess. Here it is, but the way my grandparents told me the story. The story. In Western times, the way the outlaws settled things was a simple game of chess. Whoever lost was shot in the head, and their body was dismembered and buried outside the courtyard. That was when Pete Wester, a dastardly outlaw, came into the small town. He played the sheriff in a game of chess. They had agreed that whoever lost had to hand over the town, and whoever won kept his town. They started playing, and the outlaw made a great move. The sheriff didn't know what move to make. He then did a horrible move, and lost. The outlaw won and got the town, and the sheriff was shot. The point. The point of the story is that do not accept any challenge. That's what I think. The reason is because the sheriff was foolish enough to accept the challenge. What I do not like about the story is that the good guy lost, and I think that teaches something else. Something way, way more graphic than is meant to be thought. Surely, when I asked my grandparents what the moral of the story was, my grandpa said, "Well, to the point of the story is to not be so foolish. If you are, then you'll accept any challenge. The scary part is that this happened when I was a kid, and that sheriff, he was my dad." The ending. I got shocked about how my dad's dad had gotten shot. Wait, that's not right. Should be his dad's dad's dad. I cringed when I looked it up. The following night, I got in bed. I then had a horrible vision. It was my dad. He was about 6. He was staring at his dad, who was bleeding in the head. My dad was screaming and crying, and his mother came to comfort him. That outlaw came and shot his mom. The poor baby boy was then left on the ground, crying. He kept on crying until the outlaw points a gun at him, and I wake up. I was sweating and crying, and before I knew it, I had asked my dad about the same thing. "Listen, son," my dad had said. "My gun wound is right on my arm. Right here." What? Very scary. Not confusing. Our next story tonight is entitled The Grab Hag. I was at a public toilet at my local private university. I just finished a late evening class, and there were not many people about. I went to the faculty toilets on the 4th floor, which was my absolute fucking favorite. I was in my stall, of which there were 9 in total. Suddenly, I hear one of the stall doors open violently, and then the sound of someone spinning the toilet paper roll furiously and with great anger. It seemed to go on forever, until I could hear the sound of an empty roll spinning. It stopped, and the next stall door next to it opened. Same thing began to happen. My stall was the last in line because it was the last one and my absolute fucking favourite. The stalls kept being opened, and the paper emptied one by one, and then it reached mine. I saw a shadow of a hag pause in front of my absolute fucking favourite cubicle. Then it tried the door. Crank, clank, clanky! The door shuddered. Then a raspy voice with a distinct accent said, "You open door now, little girl. You open it now." I froze. Then it repeated the same, and the door went clanky, blank, blim, blam. And then I had an epiphany. I said loudly, "Hey, you cannot make so much noise in the toilets. This place is for study." And I took the roll of toilet paper I had and threw it under the stall door. "Thank you, little miss," came the reply, and I could hear it shuffling away and out of the latrine room. Good luck urinating in peace tonight, my friends. Our next story tonight is entitled Pasta. Shook out my new coat at the picnic stop, and there was pasta in all the pockets. Our final story tonight is entitled Derek the Driller. My name is Mike. I'm 24 years of age, and I work at a donut shop in Canadian, plus I'm unemployed. So me and my friends Tom and Jake went on a walk. Our initial plan was to visit the Jack-Off, an annual event held near the town's library, where they would get everyone named Jack and they would have a podcast together. But I never went there. It was too overstimulating. So there was a change of plans, and we decided to continue on our walk until we found something fun to do. So, I began having a conversation. Me. Dude, WTF are we even gonna do earn bro? I'm so tired earn bro. Iterally bro. Tom, I think you should sleep. Yeah. So I headed off for the night to go home. That was until I reached my alleyway and brushes my teeth. A weird noise. It was a drill. And I was all like, "Dude, WTF was that?" So I put my clothes back on and ran away because I was scared. Now we were back on our walk the next day. Get this. Tom, how was your sleep, Mike? Me. Bro, it was fucking awesome. This was a lie because I did not sleep, but I did not want him to know about. Jake, how's your day? Me. Well, I don't even know. Jake. Dope. Me. It's so crazy, dude, you wouldn't even understand. As we were walking, we suddenly stopped when we saw this huge ass sign. It was fucking big, dude, it had LED shit all over it. Tom. Dude, this looks fucking dope. Yo, Mike, you wanna go in? I didn't respond because ChatGPT servers were down. Actually a very funny line. Jake, let's go in anyways. So then my friends Tom and Jake went down this really scary looking alleyway. At this moment my pants felt weird, and I thought, I pissed myself. So I didn't follow them, but I waited outside for them to come out. After 6 hours of waiting, I realized something. WTF, where are my friends? I said. That's when I heard it. Dude, WTF is that drilling noise? I really wanted to continue my legacy of being a cannabis crusader and do literally anything interesting at this moment, but I had to overreact in case any bad bitches were around, or someone like that type shit. After a second, the drilling noise stopped. WTF, I came. to my senses. At this moment, I heard screaming from inside the scary alleyway tunnel thing. And drilling too, that was the worst part, that was the worst ever. Dude, are you dudes okay in there, WTF? No response, so I'm like, those motherfuckers ignoring me. I went in the tunnel. Even though my iPhone 17 Pro Max was on 3% battery and my Apple Watch informed me of my missing AirPods, I made sure to take my trusty pair of Nike Air Jordans out of my 2025 Rolls-Royce Cullinan with my 6 wives still inside. Yeah, I have all that, by the way. Fuck y'all. As I walked around this creepy as-for tunnel, I heard the drilling again. Aw shit! I gotta follow it. I knew it wasn't a smart idea because of the words my mother said to me when I was a young boy. Don't follow no drilling noise in any tunnels, son. And I was like, WTF that shit mean? But now I know. I went in. It was creepy. Past all the darkness, I swore I could see the figure of a man with a drill-looking object in his hand sprinting, but I thought, quo is that? And sweated. There was Vine's Evany, where I looked, and I thought I saw blood, but it was just grime on the wall. My friends, I couldn't find them. Oh man, I thought to myself, this is Scaruy. As I walked around the tunnels for 3.5 seconds, I was getting bored as fuck without a YouTube video playing in another tab. But then, WTF? I sighed. Derek the Driller emerged. You probably been looking for your friends. I was hoping he'd give them back because he had a nice smile, and my mother told me to trust people with good smiles or something. Too bad, 'cause I'm gonna kill you now. Fuck. Oh shit! He takes out the drill and I'm like, fuck, man, I don't wanna die. So I ran like the wind, but I made sure not to crease my fine-ass Jordans. So then I realized why the bad guy usually catches up in horror movies or something. But my reasoning only applies if they're wearing shoes. Otherwise they... Anyways. But I was like, fuck it, I'm not dying today. So I weaved his ass like crazy and ran away. As I ran really fast, I reached these train tracks, but not until Derek the Driller caught up. Derek the Driller. Ha 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 ha! Look at you now. Me. / Derek, I'll kill you. Shit. So as he prepares to drill me with the drill, I shut my eyes and decided to take the pain like a man. Then I hear a loud noise, but I don't open my eyes because he'll drill me. It's silent for maybe 16 seconds. Then I open my eyes. He's dead? Thorne? It's my favorite line. Shit, I scared him awful foul. I flexed my biceps. So I went back to my 2025 Rolls-Royce Cullinan with my 6 wives still inside with the intent of arriving back to my mansion and charging my iPhone 17 Pro Max on 3% battery. Wait, no, 2% now? Ah, shit! Let this be a lesson. If you ever encounter Derek the Driller, whatever you do, don't let him you! I hope those stories weren't too terrifying for you. Have a lovely mug of Ovaltine before you go to bed tonight. I'm sure nobody will be hiding underneath it with a drill. Good night.